it just got real. I'm like,
well, and I had just woken you up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like freaking out.
well, here's the thing. Our TVs, I didn't even know they could do this. Our TV, how did they control our TVs? Well, without a doubt, this visual board is working.
It really is. I mean, it's helping from him getting upset because he knows where he's going every day.
I mean, something so simple, I know we talked about it a few episodes ago, but something so simple as the day before showing Cal pictures of what he's going to do the next day. And then, I mean, it makes total sense. It's just like, it's one of those things that's so simple. It's like, dude, why didn't we think about it 2 years ago? But like showing him pictures of what tomorrow is going to look like and allowing him to kind of just go through that process. Like he experiences it ahead of time. He experiences tomorrow today, if that makes any sense.
For him and his autism, everything is step by step. You have to break everything down. And I said his autism because the spectrum's wide.
Yeah.
You know?
He's definitely, he definitely more fits into like the no surprises aspect. Those the quick transitions are a little dicey. They're a little dicey.
Yeah, you're like asking for it.
Yeah, we talked before, like he hates U-turns.
Oh my God, hates it.
Hates it. I mean,
like freaks out.
I mean, you start making a U-turn and he freaks out.
Yes.
I mean,
and sometimes you just have to.
Well, yeah. I mean, sometimes you just got to make a U-turn, right? You got to get to where you're going. You got to do a U-turn, and then he'll go no, straight, no. And I mean, he could feel it coming. I mean, you're starting to turn the car, and he senses U-turn and just starts
biting himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's more. I think those are the things. Like it's good to talk about those things because some of the stuff we talk about, and it's like just like people are like, man, I can't even understand that. Like that just sounds like a whole nother world, and it really is. But just think about something so simple. Every time you make a U-turn, think about if every time you made a U-turn with your kids in the car, one of your kids just would lose it.
I know. It's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at night, I just explained to him where we're going on the visual board. I take everything off, put it on one by one. He repeats it, and he's almost happy about it. He's smiling. He likes it. And then in the morning, I do the same thing.
Yeah, it's experiencing tomorrow today so that when it comes time to do it in reality, he's a little more comfortable with it. He'll remember that he was exposed to what was going to happen, and it just has like, I don't know, a calming... I mean, so far, listen, this could all change in 5 minutes, right? But so far, it's been really cool.
Yeah, like you said, calming. So he's even been going to bed easier because he replays stuff in his head. So he's replaying what I just did as he's laying in bed.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
I like it.
Yeah. Like you said, why didn't we do it 2 years ago? It's because people say do this and then you just don't do it. I mean...
Yeah.
But now I'm like, okay, I get it. You know?
It's really interesting. I mean, it's just, again, it's just, I mean, I think this probably applies for like so many things in life. Like just, sometimes you just have to sit down because we all get caught up in our crap, right? We just get caught up and we start freaking out and, the snowball gets bigger as it goes down the hill. But then something so simple as a visual board, I'm like, that's makes a lot of sense. But I think we were all just too busy to sort of figure out, hey, if he can see something ahead of time, I don't know.
Well, and I don't know if you've seen this before, but people have recommended it to me a long time ago. And it's like you make a visual board and it's like, first we're going to brush our teeth. Then we're going to get dressed. Then we're going to eat breakfast. Then we're going to go to school and break it all down like that. And I'm like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. I just never got to it. And now I'm like, I should have done it. Yeah. And I should do that. Because brushing his teeth is still not easy. He doesn't want to do it.
I read something the other day, and it was the thing about it was be open to new, like try everything that people recommend and see like where it takes you. And then of course I read something else that was like, no, say no more often and just do your own thing, which I probably do that, but kind of what you were saying, there's probably been some really good pieces of advice that we were like, thanks, but no thanks, that we probably should have just said, yeah, what the hell, we'll try it, we'll give it a shot.
Well, you just blow it off because you're like, no, I don't think it's going to work, but I'm like, I should have tried it.
I know, but yeah. I just, we feel like we don't have time to do these other things because on paper we don't. But the reality is that we do have these micro moments where we can sort of say, let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens.
And if you don't do those things, like break it down, because you think you don't have time, it actually is going to cause you more time having to deal with the meltdown and stuff.
Yeah, right. I mean, if it's a 1% chance that it could, alleviate, a meltdown or the depth of a meltdown or the time spent on a meltdown, if there's even a 1% chance, man, maybe we should just try it. Like 1% chance is so worth it.
I know. So yesterday I picked him up from school and he had a pull-up on because we're trying to do potty training, but then he had a number 2. So to get that pull-up off with the number 2, I know you hate when I talk about this, but I'm getting to something else. So they had to clean him all up. It was a disaster.
Yeah.
So then they brought him out, and as he's walking out, he sees a piece of paper on the floor and tries to grab it and put it in his mouth. So the teacher's like, no, we can't put that in your mouth, whatever. So then I take him in the car. That leads to a meltdown. Yeah. That one piece of paper that he couldn't pick up.
Well, and him going to the bathroom in his pull-up. I'm sure that was the beginning of it too, because It feels different. It's just it's different, right? Because the pull-up is different than regular diaper.
Right. So then I get him home, and I'm like, we have to get in the bath because you're stinky. And then I posted the video on Facebook and Instagram of part of his meltdown, which lasted quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted people that don't understand meltdowns to be able to see it. But literally, it's something as little as picking up a piece of paper and a diaper change.
Oh, yeah. When that domino falls, I mean, just get ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I mean, some of these meltdowns, I mean, they're, you want to call FEMA and get them in here to help with the damage. You know what I mean? It's like, it's some of these are, I mean, just wildly intense. And we're talking about a 4.5-year-old. I talk to people every day just who are involved in the world of autism, and, they're talking about 8, 10, 12, 18, 25-year-olds, right? And that's where it just gets so different. It just gets so different. It's just I mean, just hearing them explain it and kind of walk me through it, and it just continues to solidify how important it is. Like, we have to work every day on these things. And I know that there's a segment of people who are like, don't change him. And it's like, no, we're not changing him like his soul. That has nothing to do with it. He's a wonderful, beautiful little kid. Mm-hmm. But some of these reactions and stuff, no, we have to modify those reactions. Like, we just have to. It's just going to be, better for him. It's like, I've said it before, I know people get crazy, but I mean, I'm trying to just say things that maybe other people can relate to if you're not, like when you get a puppy, okay?
Yeah.
Do you want the puppy to go to the bathroom in the house for the rest of their life? No. Do you want the puppy to chew your rugs? No. Do you want the puppy to beg for food? No. I mean, it's just,
right.
You're not changing the puppy's soul or the puppy's DNA. You're just like, hey, we don't do this. And It's going to make your life better. It's going to make my life better. And I just think that's really good for everybody, right? If everyone's life's better, isn't that good for everyone? I think it's just good for everybody.
Well, and it hurts me. It hurts my soul to see him bite himself and bang his head and,
Yeah, it's just, and it's not good for him. I mean, it's just not, it's not good to bite yourself. It's not good to have open wounds on your arms.
He has scars on his arm.
Yeah, it's not good for your head to be banged against the wall. I mean, these are just basic things that, and again, I know it's a very small segment of people who are, think that that's the wrong thing to do and let them be them or, whatever. It's kind of like other things. Like, it's a very small but loud, because they kind of cover themselves with other issues to make themselves sort of, whatever. But I mean, it's so important. Like, it's just crazy important. It's just, this. People say, oh, I bet that's somebody wrote me the other day, this guy was like, I see all the content you guys put out and all this. It must be a full-time job. I'm like, a full-time job? I'm like, and I know what he was saying. Like,
this is our life.
I'm like, that's like 40 hours a week. I'm like, a full-time job? I'm like, we put 40 hours in by Tuesday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, by Tuesday, we're 40 hours deep, and we still got 5 more days to go. So, but I get what he was saying. It's just, It's just a different. That's why I try to come up with things where I can say that maybe, because again, I don't want to beat people over the head of like I'm not some crazy Like, this is all I talk about. And it's all I think about. And if you don't side with me on this stuff, I don't want to be friends. That's not it at all. Like, you know. But what I'm saying is, it's like, think about the next time you make a U-turn, which is so common in our everyday life. Like, I would say that most people make a U-turn, I don't know, almost every day, at least every couple of days.
Yeah.
Like, think about next time you do that and then having someone in the back, like, really getting wildly emotional about that. That's intense.
Well, you've seen it. So he bites himself and he screams and stuff and cries. But then he has this new thing where he literally will bring his body forward and backwards and bang his entire body against his car seat. Yeah. It's awful. Well, it is awful.
It is awful. And now he knows, because he's getting bigger and stronger, that it actually has an effect. Like, he knows it works. He knows it bothers us. He knows it causes us to redirect all of our attention. You know what I mean?
I know.
Because he's getting bigger and stronger. So I think those things will probably, like, those reactions will probably never go away. It's just, can we sort of dilute the intensity of it?
Right.
Like, it's okay that you see the world like this. It's okay to be upset about this. And that's the thing, like, that we don't want to change. I mean, I'm not trying to
we're not changing him.
To dumb down his senses. It's just, it's okay to be upset, but let's talk about it. Or if you need to hold our hand and squeeze our hand, that's okay too. You know what I mean? That's not going to hurt anybody. If you need to give us like a really like crazy bear hug, that's awesome. You know, whatever you need to do to get that out. But you know, it's like you just don't want him to hurt himself.
I know. You said FEMA, and all I could think about was Hurricane Irma.
Well, that's when we first started learning about FEMA.
I know.
Yeah,
I couldn't get it out of my head.
Hurricane Irma blows in here 2016?
No, Cal was born in 2017, so it was 2017.
2017, and 3
Cal
days
was
later.
What, 5-6 weeks old.
Dude, do you remember that? You know, it was a little eerie driving around and seeing the FEMA trucks everywhere.
I know.
I mean, they were everywhere. I mean,
yeah.
the soldiers, the FEMA trucks. I mean, that was, you know, that was one of those things. Like, I was definitely a movie, right? Like, you're driving around, you're like, wow, these big black FEMA trucks and these National Guard soldiers, and it's like, you know, but I mean, the area was, I mean, it wasn't destroyed, but it was not an area where you could. I mean, they were trying to prevent the looting and the.
Right. I think this weirdest thing was when you were like, the sheriff is literally in the neighborhood telling people to evacuate.
That was the morning before I go outside.
Saturday.
I'm having a cup of coffee. The alerts are going off on the phones and the TV and everything. I tell you one thing, they do a great job here communicating and warning and everything. But this was like a movie. I go outside, and the sheriff's department here, they have like they don't have cars here. They have SUVs.
Yeah.
All the sheriff's deputy cars. He's going down like 5 miles an hour. He's got his lights on, and he's on the speaker. On his speaker system, and he's like, "You are in a mandatory evacuation zone. You must evacuate immediately. Help will not come. We will not be able to help you." And I'm like, "Oh, it just got real." I'm like,
well, and I had just woken you up at like 3:00 in the morning, and I'm like freaking out.
Well, here's the thing. Our TVs, I didn't even know they could do this. Our TV, how did they control our TVs? They hit this emergency thing, and all the TVs came on and were flashing red.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa. Like, we have the smart TVs, which, you know, are connected online.
Right.
I don't know how they tapped into that.
Is that what woke me up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, beep, beep, and it was red flash. Like, the screen was a red flash. I'm like, what is... It was like poltergeist. I mean, I thought I thought hell was invading Earth. I couldn't believe it.
Well, and I'm like, you really couldn't leave because of work.
Yeah.
You know? Like, they wanted you to sleep at the radio station.
Those idiots. I couldn't believe... You know, they almost got us killed. They almost got us killed. Like, they were so... You have to be here. You have to be here. You've got to be on the air and this and that. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
and
they wanted our family of 7... A newborn baby. Cal was 5-6 weeks old.
And
two dogs.
The guy at the time that was running the radio station, he's like, "Hey man, you can sleep here. There's room for you. There's we got a generator." He talked like that, and I was like, he did, and I was like, I mean, is this just like sensible to like keep people here? Like, I mean, it just seems like, I mean. it's a country music station. Like, is this really where people? You know what those clowns wind up doing?
What?
The storm gets closer and it gets real. Like, it gets a Category 5, and they're like or imminent death and destruction was what was going across the screen. Imminent death and destruction. That freaking sandbag of a boss goes, "Oh man, it's worse than we thought. I don't think we got the people qualified to talk about it." I'm like, "Oh, you think so? None of us are meteorologists." They wound up just playing the local television station audio for like 2 or 3 days.
Oh wow.
I'm like, wow. What leaders of the community you are. It gets real and you just freaking play the TV audio. So when he said, "I think we're just going to play the TV audio," I'm like, "Well, dude, you're a joke. I'm getting at it." We left. We went to North Carolina for a couple of days.
We went to North Carolina and rushed back because you had to be back.
They were wearing me out even after the storm hit. He's like, "Well, we're pretty good. We didn't get the storm surge, but the whole area is out of power." I'm like, "Well, cool. Call me when it comes back on." "No, man, you got to come back. We need to talk about, local and what's going on and this and that." I'm like, "Are all the businesses closed?" "Oh, yeah, everything's closed. State of emergency. And the power's out?" "Yeah." I said, "All right, so let me get this right. You can't listen to the radio at home because you don't have power. And by the way, nobody has a radio in their house anymore. And number 2, you said all the businesses closed and the local government, so there's no commute. So nobody's in their car listening to the radio." "Yeah, that's right, but you still need to be here." I'm like, okay. It should have been a 9-hour ride back home. It took us like 18 hours, and we literally made it back across the bridge in Tampa with, I think we had like 30 miles, because the 50-mile gas light had come on probably 20, 30 miles ago. We had no gas left because all the gas stations were closed up and down the state of Florida because the hurricane had destroyed everything.
Every exit was black. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And if there was one exit that was open, the line was so far backed up that you were going to run out of gas in line.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And Cal, by the way, was 5 weeks old.
Yeah.
5 weeks old. We had to stop running our air condition driving back down because the gas was so low. And there were people walking on the side of the road. And I don't mean like 5 or 6 people. I'm talking we probably saw hundreds and hundreds of people from Tallahassee all the way down to St. Pete.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It was.
I could not believe that. I mean, and Cal, because, back then we had no idea about autism or anything like that.
Yeah.
He was awesome. He slept most of the way, and even when he was awake, you would sit in the back with a bottle.
Yeah, he was great.
He was great. He was the best of everybody.
Yeah, then we got home and had no air condition for 5 days.
Oh my God. I'll never forget. "Man, are you coming back to town?" I'm like, "Dude, is it safe?" "Well, you got to be at work." I'm like, "Do you have any regard for human life and a little baby?" And I mean, it just, what a clown show.
Well, with no air condition, we were like literally delirious. And I'm like, if I don't feel good, then this baby doesn't feel good. So we finally were able to get a hotel room in Clearwater.
Yeah, we needed it.
And it had a little kitchen, and I cooked for the first time.
Oh my God.
In 5 days.
That's so funny you thought of that story because I totally forgot about it. But I'll never forget that guy calling me and just being like, "You got to come back to work. The community needs to hear our local..." And it's like, but then you're like, "Oh, just play the news." I'm like, "Well, what do you need us for?"
It's crazy.
And he's like, "Give updates. What's going on?" I'm like, "All right, here's the latest update. The power's still out." I mean, he's just so stupid.
I know.
I mean, it's just, oh my God.
And then people get canned foods. They're rushing out to get canned foods. You're not going to eat canned foods. Publix is open. Just go get a sub.
I know. It was like, it was just, I don't know. The only good thing about coming back and me having to go in and do the morning show.
I'll tell you the only good thing.
All right, I'll let you do, because I think we're on the same page.
Was a cup of coffee.
Hell yes.
I'm like, that was like the craziest. There was no fast food places open. I couldn't make coffee. I had a newborn baby and I was up all night feeding him, and all I wanted was a cup of coffee. So you would go in, work, and bring me home a cup of coffee, and it was so good.
I don't mean to. The boss I was talking about, he's not a bad human being.
No, he's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. He just should not be making those decisions. He was not qualified to make those decisions. He was kind of scared of his job. He was sort of like, "I got to have my morning show here. I'm freaking out." It's like, calm down. Just calm down.
I remember you going in at the same time, though, and you couldn't even talk right because you were so tired. We weren't sleeping because it was hot.
It was,
getting bit by no-see-ums.
Yeah. Irma hit September 11th. September on the Gulf Coast of Florida is just
brutal.
I tell people September is the hottest month here. I mean, it's by a mile. I mean, it just is. And so for no air for 4 or 5 days, you do start to get a little crazy.
Well, we had to leave the door open to the screen. If you don't know what an OCM is, you can't see it. It's a little bug that you can't see.
Yeah, just you got to break up the word. No CM. No
yes.
CMs. You can't see them.
So they get through the screen, and we didn't even know what they were at the time. But I go to turn, the air condition kicked on. I'm going to give the kids a bath, and then all of a sudden, the air condition had killed all the no-see-ums immediately.
Yeah.
And then the whole bathtub was like full of dots. And it was these little tiny bugs. And the weirdest thing is they don't bite babies.
No.
Babies have like different skin.
Yep.
He was the only one not getting bit.
It's something about your blood, and if you have some kind of toxins in your blood, they go after that. But
oh, wow.
When you're young, you don't have that.
Yeah, my ankles are all tore up
maybe
right now.
Maybe it's booze. Maybe
no, because the other kids got it.
Smell booze in your blood. But it's yeah. And so once they're in, you're not getting them out. But they literally will die the second any cold air hits them.
Yes,
they'll all fall from the sky. It's the craziest. Like, what a stupid insect to be. Like the second there's any bit of cold air, they just fall and die. It's just like, it's crazy. But we didn't have air for 4 or 5 days, so they were in here, and there's just no getting them out. I mean, and once they start feeding on
you can't see them.
No, so we would sit. Yeah, no see 'ems, can't see 'ems. They should call them can't see 'ems.
I know.
But so we'd sit outside a lot because during the day, like the wind's blowing and stuff, they don't like wind.
Right.
So how this turned into a Hurricane Irma. FEMA, Hurricane Irma.
Well, we did still talk about Cal.
Yeah.
He was a baby.
Well, I tell people too all the time. I was like, it's like, because people will say, "Oh, I heard you and your wife are doing this show, this podcast thing, whatever." And it's Daily Autism, so you guys talk, like, do you interview people about autism? I'm like, well, I was like, at some point, like, I've got a list of probably, it's at least 30 people that have asked to be interviewed on. And I'm like, I'm just not at the point where I want to make this like an interview show.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do a separate podcast, which is just, interviewing people in the world of autism. Because I think people, this is more lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
And people have told me, because I don't tell people what they should like or not like. It's not up to me. It's the audience decides. They're like, we really like the lifestyle stuff. Like we like that it's the daily crap.
Right.
Like the stories like, Irma or I don't know, all your stories about diapers and everything. It's just they like the lifestyle driven stuff. The interview stuff sometimes gets a little bit pitchy, right? So the people are usually pitching something, a book, a product, a service, but that's very important too. It's a fine line. You know what I mean?
know.
It's a fine.
And people don't want to be bored.
I don't want to. So I don't know. I think we'll do a separate one for that, or do the interviews at the end of the lifestyle driven segments. So I don't know.
This is real life.
Real life. Speaking of real life, do you have to go and do real life things now?
I have a lot of stuff to do.
God, today is a annoying day, isn't it? I looked at what we have, and I'm like, oh gosh, it's just there's so many like little things on the list that have to get done.
Yeah, it's like there's not enough time in the day.
There never is.
And the kitchen's a disaster.
Kitchen is a disaster. It looks like Hurricane Irma went through it.
Well, that's what happens when you cook.
I walked outside and saw the kitchen. I was like, I'm going to North Carolina today. I'm jumping in the car. The sheriff's out there. We've seen your kitchen. Leave. We will not come.
You have a lot of cooked meals.
Oh, I'm not complaining, man.
Yeah, I run the dishwasher 4 times a day.
Oh, boy.
And that includes
4 times by 2:00. I think there's another 3 times. I think it's honestly 5 to 7 times a day.
It's ridiculous. And I buy paper plates.
We could have another dishwasher.
Absolutely.
We've talked about that.
Yep.
We lived in a house in Indianapolis where we had 2 kitchens.
Yeah.
There was one in the basement. It was a full kitchen in the basement. And man, that was awesome.
I wonder if you can build an outside kitchen and have a dishwasher.
No, you got to run a water line. I mean, that's just
we can't fit one in this house.
No, not in this house. That's for sure. Okay, Aspire Nutrition. Go check out the products that are helping Cal heal his little autism tummy. You can go to dailyautism.com. The gut health directly affects brain health. I kind of say that, right? Like gut health affects brain health. It makes total sense. They actually call your gut your second brain. When you get nervous about something and you get that thing in your stomach?
Oh, yeah.
That is your second brain getting nervous. I mean, that is the reaction.
When my anxiety is bad, it hurts my stomach.
Yeah. So it's the same thing with those diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. Cal is on the BioHeal. This is the 5-in-1 probiotic formula. He's actually on the BioHeal Pro Plus, getting those 26 billion colony forming units and the 12 premium grade probiotic strains. So this is really, it's really worked wonders for him. It is an unflavored mix, which is so big in the world of autism. The founders of this company, Aspire Nutrition, they put all this together because their son was diagnosed just before his 3rd birthday.
This is something I also waited too long to do. So if you can, I would pick up a probiotic, Aspire Nutrition, because you want one that has good ingredients. You can't just go buy it off of the shelf somewhere.
I mean, look, so here's the thing, right? They sell probiotic. I mean, you can go on Amazon, you can go to Walmart, you can go to Target. Those are not the premium grade stuff. Like, we've done all the research. I'm not going to walk you through it all. I mean, at some point, you've got to do the work too. But I can just tell you, you've got to find a premium grade. We teamed up with Aspire, first off, the story, right? So they attacked this from the perspective of autism because of their son. That meant a lot to us. We knew they were looking out for things that we need to also look out for.
Right.
On top of the probiotics, which all of us are on, it's not just Cal, it's all of us and the other kids. But the multivitamin, the advanced multivitamin formula, those key nutrients that he would never get anywhere else. We've talked about it before, the shiitake mushrooms, all the other vitamins, the minerals and stuff like that he was never going to get because of his autism diet. He's just not seeking those foods. So again, that's something we waited too long. Like, I did think the other day, I'm like, well, he's 4 years of his life. There's no way he's gotten the vitamin C he's needed. Just something as basic as vitamin C. You know what I mean?
I know.
So you could see the products at dailyautism.com. The link is there. If you have questions, feel free to message us of the products that we use and how we use them with Aspire Nutrition. Are you ready for the day?
I am.
I feel like the day's already conquered me. And I haven't even, we've taken the kids to school, had a couple cups of coffee, and I feel like the day is already won.
I know. I feel like I have like big stones on top of my body and I'm at the bottom of it. That's how much stuff we have to do.
We have to remember?
What?
All right, so we told the story about Hurricane Irma and evacuating and then immediately racing back and dealing in that week. Today will not be that challenge. Oh, God, why do I say it? Why do I say it? No, I'm going to will it. Today will not be as challenging as that week, as that day was, those days.
Yeah.
So we got to remember that, right? We got through that. We'll get through this.
Yes.
All right. The day isn't coming for us. We're coming for the day.
Let's go.
Let's go.